Quyen Tran is a creative force of nature. She's a widely sought-after cinematographer for film, TV and commercials, a mentor to industry newcomers, and a full-time wife and mother. We talk about her dream to be a CIA agent, how 9/11 drastically changed the trajectory of her life and career, and a little bit about her husband, Sam. She's an incredible storyteller and an articulate, wonderful person. I hope you enjoy this conversation with Quyen today on Between the Sheets.
I'm going to refer to myself as Sam Regal's wife the whole time.
Okay, good. Mrs. Sam Regal. Did you change your name legally?
Hell no.
You didn't at all?
No. Quyen Tran.
Not even for
Nope. No.
Okay.
Why do you keep asking me?
Well, I just...
Because you want Ashley to change her name?
No, I'm going to change my name to Mr. Ashley Johnson.
You better.
I'm taking her first and last
She's
name.
way more famous than you.
I could do Brian Foster Wallace Johnson.
Where's the Wallace come from? Oh, that's your middle
David
name?
Foster Wallace. No, my middle name's Wayne. Well, the one I use now.
Oh, really?
Thank you for joining me.
Are we
Quyen
starting?
Tran. Not
Cheers.
Quyen Tran Regal. Not Quyen Regal Tran.
No.
Regal Tran sounds like a type of like a blood disease. She came down with Regal Tran and I never saw her again.
Foster Johnson.
Foster
That
Johnson.
just sounds like,
Foster Johnson and Johnson.
yeah, something dirty or clean. Like a
Either
soap,
side of the
a soap
spectrum.
product, yeah.
Well, that's how Ashley and I are though. How is it?
Dirty and clean?
Dirty and clean.
Very nice. This is lovely.
This is a sherry cobbler.
It's beautiful.
So this is sherry and some homemade cinnamon simple syrup and some orange, and it's really refreshing.
It's
not too
lovely.
strong.
It's not too sweet. And you would think from cobbler it might be a little bit more hearty, but it's not. It's very light and refreshing. I think the acidity of the orange really brightens it up, and the green contrasts nicely with the orange.
The mint.
It's very beautiful. It's nicely backlit right now. You can see the condensation. It's beautiful.
I could listen to you talk about drinks or food all day, and maybe we should just do that. Let's talk about our favorite foods.
You would be taking over Sam Regal's role, because that's all I do is talk about food all
Yeah,
day.
that's true. Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take over his role on the other show eventually too. So
What show?
Once he becomes an EGOT, he's telling all of us he's gonna leave. He says,
What show is that?
Critical Role.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You've heard
sorry.
of it, reference in passing. They did an episode at a rage room where they smashed pictures of me.
Of you?
Yeah.
Why are they so mad at you?
I've been asking that too. Liam is not. When I see Liam, there's a lot of intimacy. There's a lot of affection.
Romance.
We have deep conversations. It's just sort of how things go if you know Liam. With Sam, it's very cold. It's very distant. It's he doesn't like being touched. He's big about his eye line. You ever work with actors that complain about the eye line? You don't have to say who.
Yeah, of course. That's what I do for a living.
Is it does that happen a lot? Is it a big thing? Because
Yes.
there's some stuff that I can see if I'm acting with you and I have to do a big emotional thing. You know, like sometimes one of the camera guys who's right here will scratch their balls while I'm talking to you. And I see that. And I try not to let it throw me off, you know, but I also don't want to tell them, you can't scratch your balls on my show, man. Because like, if it itches, it itches. But if I have to act out some crazy emotional thing and then there's some guy back there or whatever and he's picking his nose, like I can understand that.
Yeah.
But I've also been on sets where people are just kind of like looking down and they're screaming like, get out of my fucking eye line and shit like that.
Yes. No, I think there's a way to approach it. I think if you say it once, or if you have a good producer on set, they'll make an announcement. Hey, out of respect for the actors, let's try not to be on our phones within the actors' eye lines. If you need to take a call, please step outside. But just try to, be respectful. I think that's it's necessary.
Yeah.
It's professional.
Right.
And that's how the protocol should be on set. If a cameraman is working at a high level of television or feature work, he or she, I said cameraman, didn't I? Oh my goodness.
I understand. Camera person.
A camera person.
It's only been 100 years of calling him cameraman.
Yes. A camera person, operator, is operating. They should know to not be distracting.
Right.
Because the camera person and the camera is the closest thing to an actor.
Right.
It's the closest
Interesting.
relationship. And that's actually why I become really close friends with actors on set, because I am right there, oftentimes right here,
Yeah.
filming the actor. And if I'm handheld, I'm like, it's sometimes like, brushing up against
Like
other
up
actors
against-
and
yeah.
really, really close, depending on the scene. So I think it's part of protocol, and it's okay. I don't think it's okay for an actor to scream out, "Hey, you!
Yeah.
Get out of my eye line!" And that's happened before on set. One time my gaffer was there holding like a board just because he had to be there. And it was a very small movie, and we were shooting with candles, and no one else could do it, right? So he was there, but he had his eyes like this, and the actor was here, and the actor said, "What's your name?" He said, "Well, I'm the gaffer. I'm trying to, can you leave?" And I was like, "Well, I need to have someone hold this, so let me take a minute. Let me get a C-stand in."
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was like,
Ugh.
diva.
Did you kick one of the candles at his robe or whatever and see if they would go
I
up in
burned the
flames?
place down. It was a 14th century castle.
Worth it.
Worth it.
Do you feel like you get close to actors because you're so close to them, or is it important to you to get them comfortable with you because you're going to be in that space? Does that make sense? Like,
Both. I think the proximity of being there, as well as the intimate connection that I have to have that relationship in order to get the best performance possible. I think as a director of photography, you're there to aid the director's vision, to help the director achieve his or her vision through not just visuals and lighting, but storytelling. And I really pride myself on understanding the full script, the full narrative. Because if I didn't, how could I elevate the project?
the material.
Exactly. So when I'm here and the director is giving a note, I will listen, and then I'll say, "Hey, is it okay if at that moment I push in?" And the director will be, "Yes, absolutely, do whatever you have to do." And so I'll say to the actor, just to warn them, "Heads up, at this moment, I'm gonna just get a little closer." Sometimes I won't say that because it's like if we're shooting verite or
Right.
the actor understands the camera movement and philosophy.
Yeah.
I don't need to tell them everything I'm doing, but a lot of times I will let the actor know, "Hey, by the way, we're starting here on a cowboy, and then I'm going to push into a medium. And then after that, we're going to do one more setup where we're going to be on a close-up." And I think a lot of television actors especially appreciate that knowledge so that they can either prepare for that or
Right.
save or make sure that their eye line is there.
Yeah.
A lot of actors are very technical, and I appreciate that. So I've had actors who are more technical than others, actors who are more difficult than others, and won't come in for like, we'll have first team and a second team. So the second team will come in and they'll stand in and they'll do all the blocking, but it's never the same. So when first team steps in, if I have to do a lighting tweak, I'm like, oh gosh, like I don't want to take time on set because we have first team on set, and I want to be as respectful as possible to the process, especially if it is a very intense, intimate scene
Yeah.
where the actor's raring to go. Like
Yeah.
they're in their trailer and they come out and they expect to shoot, but I'm like, oh gosh, I didn't know you were going to do a wardrobe change and you're wearing this bright red and the stand-in was wearing black, and I'm
Oh, right. Yeah. All the things you have
there's
to
a lot
adjust
of
on the fly.
lighting. Yeah. So
Yeah, I've been with you when you've had stacks of scripts and you're working through stuff. What's that process like for you when you first get a script? What's the main thing you want to do? Just understand the story, or are you already like, okay, I can visualize, how I want to shoot this?
well, if I say yes to a project, it's because I really connect to the material. So I'll sit down with the director and we'll talk about all the scenes. And what I do is I ask the director, even though I might understand myself, I want to hear it from the director. Why does this scene exist? How does it further the narrative? How do we get to the next level? And so everything that happens in the script happens for a reason.
Right.
And I think my biggest pet peeve on set is when someone will say, "Oh, it doesn't matter." Well, like, why are we shooting it then? Like, everything matters.
Yeah.
An insert matters. Everything matters. Everything furthers that narrative one more step of the way.
What do you do when the director doesn't have a clear vision of why it matters, or if you disagree with it? You know what I mean? Because
Sure.
you both have to work in such, synchronicity for the whole thing to work. Obviously, there's a ton of moving parts in any production like that, but what happens when you don't line up? do you have to
You have to compromise.
compromise?
You have to meet. Yeah, you have to meet somewhere because, especially if it's on set, if it's happening on set, not in pre-production, you got to get your act together fast
Right
because you
there.
have a team of hundreds of people waiting for you right
Money's
now.
burning
Money's
every
burning.
second.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you have to be very, very prepared. So yeah, you'll just come to a compromise and just keep moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your heritage?
I'm part elf, part fae. I'm Vietnamese.
You know what fae is?
Well, it's because I read a lot of young adult novels.
You do?
Yeah.
Which ones? What are you reading right now?
Right now, I'm currently reading Sarah Moss, Throne of Glass.
Wait, Ashley's reading that. She just got the first one.
Isn't
Is
that
that the one where
crazy?
there's like 8?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm on book 3 or 4.
Cool. What do you like about YA novels?
I just disappear. Into the world. I love to turn my mind off because my mind, it's very active. I have a lot I have to deal with in my life, and as any parent has to deal with, but also running a crew.
Yeah.
And the biggest job of all is being Sam Riegel's wife. I mean,
Who could ever have the patience, the grace, the ability to overlook looks? Him getting his teeth swapped out every 6 months for new ones.
I think all my income goes towards Sam Riegel's upkeep.
His upkeep, his wardrobe.
His manscaping.
Ugh. Does he do a lot of manscaping? Do you ever just sit in bed and read your YA novels and hear a lot of zzz coming from the bathroom and 45 minutes at a time? You're like, what could you
Like,
possibly...
what are you doing in there?
Yeah. And
Nothing.
you don't have that much back hair. Jesus.
Actually.
Yeah, okay, so you're
Yeah.
part elf, part fae,
Yeah. And 100% Vietnamese.
100% Vietnamese. Were your parents born here or there?
No. I was the first one born in America.
Yeah.
So my parents fled Vietnam and were refugees and landed in America in 1975. So my 2 older sisters were born in Vietnam, and I was the first one born in America.
What is that experience like?
I don't know any other experience.
I mean,
but
yeah, like at what age do you think you understood what your parents left and why, because if America's all you had known, yet your sisters, how old were they when you guys left?
They're 4 and, 3.
Yeah.
My older sister was just born, so she was a couple months old.
So no memory really.
No memory. She has no
them.
memory. Yeah, my other sister was 2, so even she, I don't think, has any memories
Yeah.
from that. But I'm still trying to understand what they went through, and I think only after 9/11 happened did I get a taste of what my parents may have gone through.
The trauma.
Yeah.
Wow.
Of fleeing a country, being so young, not knowing where they were headed,
How old were they?
like 21 and 3 or something, so young.
Wow.
Yeah, it was intense. And I had no appreciation of what they had gone through until I experienced it myself to, a fraction of the degree that they had endured all those years
Yeah.
in that war-torn country.
Where did they move when they came here?
So they took their boat people and they landed in Springfield, Virginia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's where I was born.
Yeah.
And I think actually I was born in Fairfax.
And then how long did you spend there?
I went to university there, so I only moved out of Virginia when I was 22.
University of Virginia?
Yep. Where I became Sam Riegel's girlfriend.
Enough about him.
then-
Jesus Christ. No, we're going to get to that because I have a lot of things I want to hear your side of the story. So then what was growing up like, those first, up until high school and stuff like that? Were you close with your sisters?
As siblings are like, we were very competitive with one another, Asian especially. Not to,
Oh, it makes
live
sense.
up to the stereotype.
Right. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I played the flute, though, not the violin. My sister played the violin.
You like playing the flute? My sister
I
played
loved
the flute.
it, yeah. No, I played it for many years. Yeah.
So you're growing up in a country that you're the first generation of, right? And so How did your parents take to being in America? Was it obviously a huge cultural adjustment? And this is in the late 70s.
Yeah, I only now still speak Vietnamese to my parents.
Really?
We grew up speaking Vietnamese at home, and we still do.
Do you speak any other languages?
I studied a lot of languages when I was growing up because I wanted to be in the CIA. So I studied Japanese, Latin, German, and Italian.
Why did you want to be in the CIA? What did you want to do for
I just
CIA?
wanted to be a badass spy.
Want to be like a spy?
I did. But you know what? I did not have perfect vision. So all my chances were shattered. Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
I had
also, it's really hard to get in. And also,
Yeah.
like, I maybe decided that might be a little crazy.
that kind of
But I wanted to,
role.
for many years, I wanted to be, like, in the CIA, be a spy. Like, I studied martial arts. I studied languages. I was, like, preparing.
You were, like, really going to do it.
I was.
How old were you at this point when you're dreaming about that?
18.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well, did you watch a movie or read a book or what inspired
did I?
that?
Books.
Books.
That was, yeah. Books have always been my thing.
Were you reading Tom Clancy and you're like,
I was
I
not,
want to be...
no. But, you know, Anne McCaffrey, Ursula Le Guin, Pierce Anthony, sci-fi fantasy, that was my jam.
CIA.
Yeah.
I think you could still do it.
That'd be cool.
At what point did you say, I'm going to give up on my dream of being a CIA agent? I think of, did you ever see The Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis?
Of course.
Oh,
Classic.
that could be you.
Could be me. Could have been. Still can.
Still can.
I don't know. I have kids now.
Yeah, but once they turn 18, you're still going to be badass. You could
I'll
just
be so old.
We'll all be so old.
I can't, like, I don't know if I'll be able to kick someone in the groin and, like,
But you could do this.
slice his throat.
You could go work there and do this and speak on the phone languages to people.
I could. That'd be cool.
At what point did you go, I'm going to give up my dream of being a CIA badass and go into accounting? When did that
College,
happen?
I
Like
think.
college?
Yeah. I went to college not really knowing what I was going to do. I thought maybe pre-med. So I took a lot of pre-med classes the first year, quickly realized I cannot do this. I don't like it at all.
It just wasn't your thing?
It was my thing.
Yeah.
And I took a lot of electives like mythology because I've always been really into mythology and fantasy and sci-fi. So I really excelled in the languages and the art classes and the mythology. But, you know, you can't really make a living doing that. Or can you?
Or can you? That's a good point. But no, at the time,
At the time,
there was nothing
No.
in the world that would
No.
tell you could do that
no.
for a living.
There
Okay,
was
yeah.
not Critical
No.
Role.
No, there
And
wasn't.
I didn't even know I could be a filmmaker.
Mm.
I started really late.
Do you
as
think
far
if
as
you
making
knew you could be a filmmaker, but at that time it wasn't really something in your mind, right? So
No.
like, yeah.
When I was a freshman in high school, I took a film class, and I thought that was really cool. I was the only freshman. It was a bunch of like theater, drama
Nerds and
seniors,
Yeah.
and I was just like, you know, little dorky freshman who was in the higher math classes and in the symphonic band and whatever. But that was my first exposure to film, and I kind of left it alone until I got to film school for
Yeah.
my master's.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even do anything film related in college. I sang a cappella, and
You also sang a cappella?
That's how I met
That's
Sam.
right, I know, I'm kidding. What was the name of your group? Did you have a group?
So yes, so at UVA we call ourselves Wahoos
Okay.
because it's like a fish that
Yeah,
can
yeah,
drink.
yeah, yeah.
So we were the Silhouettes.
That's
So
cool.
clever.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
Dork.
How many years did you do the a cappella thing? Was that like a part
3
of
years.
college?
Oh, huge
Big part?
It was everything. That was my life.
Did you ever
Instead
want to
of-
be a singer?
No,
But you loved singing?
I'm a
as-
musician.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I never really considered myself a singer. Sam thinks I have a good voice, but I'm like, I can get by. I have good pitch. You know, I can arrange. I was musical director for 2 years.
Doing what?
I arranged all the music, did all the
Oh, for the a
for my
cappella group.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
Yeah. Do you still play music at all? Do you still ever like bust out your flute or sing?
no,
Or
I tried the other day.
you sing to the kids?
Oh, all the time. Sam and
Okay.
I sing all the time.
No, that must be
We
fun.
sing.
Do you-
It's really nice.
He likes to harmonize.
We and a lot of times we'll jump to the harmony at the same time. We're like, oh, we're so in love.
Yeah. you're an acapella and you meet Sam and he's an acapella. Tell me your side of how
we met?
Yeah, tell me how that went down. When you first met him, like what was your initial thought? What happened
I thought he
there?
was an asshole.
You did?
Oh yeah.
A lot of people think he's a dick when they meet him.
Yeah, because he's special. I don't even know where to start. So I met him. He was, he was very talented. He's an incredible singer, performer. Like it's in his blood. And so that's not what I am, and not what I desire to be. I don't like to really be in front of the camera. I don't like to be in the limelight. So when I met him, I was like, that guy's a total asshole. Like, why is he trying to get with me when he's clearly messing around with all these other girls?
He's got his pick of the litter, as they say.
Well,
right?
Girls would like throw their panties at him, basically. I know.
During acapella?
Not literally, but.
Guys, we chose the wrong profession.
Well, the girls would hold signs up that would say AVP, which stood for Academical Village People, rocks my box. And Sam would say stuff like, "Oh, girls, you're gonna wet your panties on this next one." He's just nasty.
He played to it well.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So I was really pushing him away a lot. Like, come on, man, you're just a slut, and I am not. I'm so innocent. I'm a Catholic girl.
I'm an accountant.
Yeah. But we became really good friends, and we became the best of friends. So I couldn't really hide that fact of it. And with my boyfriends before, I had always become really close with them as friends before dating. That's just who I am. I like to meet people and socialize and get to know someone.
Yeah.
So we became really the best of friends. And at that point, I was dating another guy in the group. And then we broke up.
Another guy in Sam's acapella
In Sam's group,
right.
Very incestuous. A lot of cross dating.
Yeah.
As you do in college.
Crossing the streams.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't tried that.
You don't want
do
to.
that?
You don't want to.
I tried it this morning in the shower. No, I'm kidding.
You can get dropsy from that. Remember dropsy? I don't think people
No,
get
what's
that
that?
anymore.
What
It's like
is that?
something I saw in Downton Abbey.
Oh, God.
It's like an ancient disease. Not ancient. I mean, that show's not.
Is there a
like set in the
vaccination for
Roman-
that?
Yeah, I think so.
It's
You have
probably
to-
made a comeback. Though,
Adrenaline in the heart.
Like polio and a lot of
I think it's adrenaline in the heart, like Pulp Fiction.
God. Oh, that was so
best
good.
scene.
That was
That's
so
the best
good.
scene.
So good.
Okay, so you're dating some other guy,
yeah.
some other acapella.
Yeah.
And then,
then we break up, and then Sam and I get very close. There's a little bit of dancing here and there, like maybe a New Year's celebration where we, little kiss.
oh.
Oh.
The vibes were there. You
The
knew,
vibes
like,
were there.
you knew I want to be more than just a friend with this guy.
But I was like, do I want to? We're so different. So different.
What were the biggest differences in your mind? Besides the fact that he was so outgoing and, throw your bras up here, ladies,
Yeah,
and then
I
you're,
mean, I think the whole actor thing, I think most actors are narcissists. You have to be in order to be an actor, and I don't think it's a negative quality, but you also have to be selfless at times. And I've since seen that, especially since we had kids, but that's many years later.
He's able to hold both. Yeah.
He's the best dad in the world.
Yeah.
He really is.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think he's a better dad than I am a mom.
You think so?
Well, because I would go away for months at a time to
your
work,
job,
and
yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm the worst mother in the world. But that's still something I'm coming to terms with.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that's a part of this whole crazy.
It's so hard.
Choosing a life in this business is there's sacrifices and there's big sacrifices and there's big rewards,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a trade up.
And I don't think there's any easy answer to it. There's no solution, and it's something you just have to keep working on constantly. But anyway, going back to college, we became the best of friends, and then one day he said, "This is too painful for me. I don't think we can be friends anymore because you don't want the same thing as me." And I was like, "Why?"
He wanted to
You're my
take it
best
further, and you didn't.
He wanted to, and
Yeah.
I didn't. And I said, "Well, you have to change your ways because you're slutting
Pretty much like
slutting around all the time. And if you really like me, why are you hooking up with all these girls all the time?" And I gave him an ultimatum. I was like, "You can't do that anymore. You got to clean up your act if you really want to." He's like, "Well, I can't just stop my ways." And I'm like, "Yes, you can.
Yes.
That's what.
If you really
commitment
want
is."
this, yeah, exactly. That's
why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we
you
didn't
think-
talk for 3 days. And I was
right.
I was like, my life is over. So.
And then what happened? after the 3 days?
I went to his room and I brought his favorite ice cream and I said, okay,
That's right.
we're gonna do this. And we've been together ever since.
Do you think that part of what attracted him to you was the fact that you weren't at all like those other girls?
I didn't fall for that. And I don't think I have since. I still don't.
You don't buy into that whole
I don't
side
buy
of
into
it?
that whole like,
Uh-huh.
It's not just, no.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting because it's not like, oh, opposites attract or something like that with you guys. It's on a deeper level. Like you each cover different bases.
Yeah.
And you each have different dreams, but you're
Yes.
both okay with each other's differences, but also encouraging them too, right?
100%.
Yeah.
I have the biggest fan in Sam. He's supported me in my career. When I said, after 9/11 happened, I wanted to quit my job, and I did. And I wanted to be happy. And that has been the single most consistent theme in our lives since then is what makes you happy? And we have those discussions all the time. And I ask my children that all the time. Are you happy?
Are you happy?
What makes you happy? And I want to make sure that my kids understand that when I do go away, it's not because I need to work to make money. It's because work makes me happy. But just because I go away, it doesn't mean that I don't love you less.
Why is that important to you to communicate? Because I can think of so many situations where my parents were traveled a lot growing up, and that was definitely not how things were communicated to me. I mean, they did their best, but like it was we have to make money or whatever else. But that seems like a really good way for them not to resent work or what you do, but also in their own path. Does that make sense?
Yes. Well, I want them to be happy. That's all I want
Yeah.
in life. I don't care if they go to school. I don't care if they quit gymnastics. I don't care if they don't want to play the piano. I want them to be happy because I think that is everything. And I think happiness leads to success. It leads to good relationships. It leads to good people. I think that Americans need to be happier overall. I think there was some article where Americans rated the lowest in terms of happiness across the world.
Yeah.
And so I don't know when this became so important to me. Maybe it was after 9/11 when I reevaluated life and just went on a different journey and became a cinematographer. Basically switched my whole career path and trajectory because of that life-altering event.
Yeah.
So I think happiness is always a theme, and it comes up all the time with Sam and myself. Talking about Critical Role, I get really upset sometimes when he has to do a show on Tuesday, a show on Thursday, a show on Friday, and then a photo shoot on Sunday. That's 4 days out of 7.
Yeah.
And I just have to take a breath and say, okay, this is what makes him happy. So when I say that and then I put myself in his shoes, I can let it go.
Yeah, I mean, speaking from experience, I'm sure there's times too where you've had to be gone for months and he's like, dang, this is gonna suck. I'm gonna miss her like crazy.
Yes.
I'm gonna probably gain 15 pounds. I gotta take care of the kids by myself. You know what I mean? And it is
help it.
Well, of course, yeah, but you know what I mean? Like you're not gonna be there to make sure he's not raising them terribly for those couple of months. But yeah, it's that weird trade-off, like we said. Yeah.
It's a huge compromise too. And it's been a struggle the last couple years with my
Career
job
taking off.
being, and just getting busier and busier. And he said something the other day that was just like a stab to the heart. He said, with your television schedule, you might as well be out of the country shooting a feature. And I was like,
it's TV.
And I stopped and I was like, yes, true, but I am in bed every night. And I'm here on the weekends.
That's true, yeah, because you're able to shoot right now locally.
Yes.
Yeah, which is not always the case.
No, well, it's a very conscious choice. I stopped doing features because every feature shoots out of town.
Yeah.
And I had an amazing opportunity in television, which I took. And then I've just been doing television shows in LA. But I'm looking to do a feature next because I've earned it. I've earned enough points. I've been here for like 2 years now.
You got your punch card.
I'm like, look,
All these
I've been
TV
here for
shows.
700 days straight.
You should do like, I got 4 TV shows and then I get a feature.
Yeah.
And then I get
Kind
4
of,
TV shows.
kind
Yeah.
of. And
then
we
I get
talk
a
about
feature.
that. But he sees that I am unhappy sometimes and shooting some content because it's not as creative. You can't really flex all your muscles because you're trying to,
Yeah, you're trying to
you're
match
trying
a
to make
vision.
8 to 10 pages a day. Not necessarily match a vision because I try to only shoot pilots.
Oh, right,
And
yeah.
establish the look. But to be consistent and to shoot multiple cameras just to make the day, there's only so much creativity that you can work around.
Yeah.
So.
And then if you come home unhappy with how that goes,
Yeah,
it's like,
he knows.
he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last 2 projects, however, have been really, really gratifying because of the subject material. It's a very socially impactful show. I'm excited for it to premiere next year. And then
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable,
Right.
yes. And then this Africa doc that I just did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
How long ago was that you did it?
I just got back a month ago.
Okay.
So. But I
wanna-
was so happy. And Sam noticed
From doing it?
Yeah, he was like, you should do more stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
You're like, I'll just go to Africa then
I'm
whenever
like,
I want.
see ya.
Later. I talked to Sam about 9/11 when he was here for his episode and got his perspective on it. But what in the world was that day like for you? Because you woke up that morning and
to the sound
of
an airplane smashing into
across the street from your apartment.
Yes.
And then you guys just ran out.
Yes.
And
Well, we ran to the window.
You ran to the
we
window.
were on the 18th floor.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And looked outside, didn't see anything. Looked up. Smoke. People running around. What is going on right now?
Did you know it was a plane or did you think it was a
No.
bomb? Because it was just
Nope.
a loud explosion, basically.
It was a loud explosion. It shook the bed. We were sleeping in separate beds because we weren't married yet.
Oh, right. Yeah. Dick Van Dyke Show.
Don't show my mom this.
I won't. And we won't subtitle it for her either.
No. No, she can understand English.
Oh, okay. Shit.
Anyway, so the ground shook, the bed shook. What was that? Jump out of bed, run to the window. Oh my God, what's happening? Oh, a little plane, just
Something happened.
an accident.
Right. Yeah.
Sam's father calls, and he is a scientist, a very smart man. He says, get out of the apartment now. That building is going to collapse. What? You're crazy.
Right.
It's the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
It's built of steel. It's not going to fall. What?
He knew when the plane hit eventually.
Yeah. He's a brilliant scientist. So we did not listen to him because we're not that smart.
Right.
I grabbed
we were
my
young and...
yeah, we were young. So I grabbed my camera and I start photographing, and suddenly, and I put my camera down for a half second, and I see the second plane go into the South Tower, and it seemed like it was in slow motion, because after that I see this mushroom cloud
Oh, smoke and stuff? Yeah.
of smoke and fire rush towards me, and I am blown back from the window, and the heat and the sound and the smell overpowers me, and I fall back. And Sam, he was in the other room on the phone with his dad when it happened.
Oh.
So he did not witness that plane crash. So I go back to the window, and Sam runs in. He's like, oh my God, what just happened? And I said, another plane crash. This is not an accident. And he goes, what kind of plane was it? And I said, it was a commercial airliner. It was not small. And so we knew at that point that we were being attacked.
Then what'd you do?
So then I, like an idiot, I took more pictures.
Took more pictures.
I didn't know what else to do.
Right.
What were we supposed to do? We looked down, and I have photos of that too. And there are, people running out of the Marriott Hotel, and then firefighters running in. And I think that, to me, I will never forget that image, is people running out and the firefighters running in.
Whoa.
Because we know what happened to those firefighters.
Yeah.
So I have pictures of that, and finally, we exited the building. But when we ran down 18 flights because we were like, oh, let's not take the elevator.
Just
we might
in
get
case
stuck,
you'll get stuck
whatever.
in there, yeah.
We don't know. We have no idea. We hit the ground floor, and at the exact moment is when the South Tower fell.
So it must have just been like...
Well, we thought it was more attacks.
Yeah.
But the sound of the tower collapsing was deafening.
I can't imagine. You're across the street.
I thought literally an airplane or something was right over us dropping bombs. So we were running from the cloud, and it very quickly encompassed us and overtook us, and then suddenly silence. And that's what I remember the most, is the smell and the lack of sound of that moment.
What was the smell? Just that smoky fire, like there's debris everywhere.
Debris
there's
and
papers,
ash. But it's a very specific smell, and every now and then I smell it. And it's a smell of death and ash. And it's it'll take me right back to that moment. So we're running for our lives. The smoke is everywhere. I'm next to Sam. He's screaming. I'm screaming, and it's just nothing. No sound. Just silence. And then a couple minutes later, an EMT gives us masks. We put them on, the first responders. And then suddenly we start hearing this high-pitched piercing sound. We're like, what is that? And then another one, the same pitch, and they keep coming. And it's the sound of the firemen's bands. When their heart stops beating,
oh my God.
you hear this sound, apparently.
Oh my God. And those started going off?
Yeah. Yeah.
Were you taking pictures because part of you felt like, okay, obviously there's this crazy trauma and there's experience, but this is a moment in history? Or was it just a reflex to have something to do to not panic at the moment while you were still trying to sort of figure out the plan and everything?
At that time, I had just been gifted a camera. I think I mentioned earlier, I really got into the filmmaking game late.
Mm-hmm, right.
I was 22 when Sam gave me my first camera, and I was like, oh, this is cool. So
It was for your birthday or something,
it was
right?
for my birthday,
Yeah.
and I was painting a lot, and so, and I would work from photographs sometimes. So he was like, oh, I'm gonna get you a camera, so to help with your painting.
Mm-hmm.
But then quickly I realized I liked the photographs more than the painting process. So I was really into photography. I would shoot black and white and process everything and print it myself. So at that point, I'd been doing it like 2 years, two and a half years. So I don't know, I just felt like I just had to document.
What was happening?
Yeah, and this was before social media.
Right, of course, yeah.
And I wasn't driven by that at all.
No,
I didn't think like, oh, I can sell these photos. That would never entered my mind.
Right.
I just felt like this organic need to photograph and to document this moment in history. So we were running, and we were like, should we jump over the fence, the promenade down there in Battery Park, and swim to New Jersey? Because at that point we were running south and people were running north.
Oh.
And we're like, we are screwed. We're dead. There's nowhere to go. And people are it's just a melee. Like no one knows what's happening. We don't know if it's terrorists. We don't know if that was like the U.S. Air Force flying. Like we had no idea what was happening. It was so scary. And this is before really the internet really took off. And so it's not like we could check our phones.
No.
And like it was just cell phone and flip phones at the time. So we didn't know what was happening. And we got to the south end of the island, and we were like lying on our stomachs when the second tower fell, the North Tower. And then again, that mushroom cloud came, and it overtook us. And had this picture of Sam standing before the North Tower fell with the mask on.
We showed it on his episode.
did?
It's amazing. Yeah, you can just see it.
It's everything. I mean, it'll take you right back there, and it's really scary to think about now.
Yeah.
But I don't really talk about it a lot.
I know.
Like
I
a lot
understand.
of people don't even know I was there.
Right.
And that it was the reason I became a cinematographer. Like when I get asked, oh, why did you become a DP? I always hesitate. I'm like, do I want to give them the long answer?
Mm-hmm.
Or do I just say, oh, I was a stills photographer and I just wanted to be challenged more. So and it was a very solo job, photography is very solo. So I wanted to collaborate more. So I became filmmaker. That's kind of my
Right,
easy
that's a good way to
answer
put it.
without getting into 9/11 changed my life. I almost died. I quit my corporate job and decided to pursue the arts.
Yeah, because you ended up taking some of those rolls of film to the Associated Press.
Yeah.
So what did you do? You just walked in and said,
I said, I have images. And then they looked at them and they're like, these are incredible. We want you to go back and shoot more. So I did that a couple times.
They gave you a badge and...
Yeah. I went and I did that whole thing.
So thank you for talking about that, by the way.
Of course.
After that experience, obviously changed your life, and then how did that transition into, was it the near-death experience that made you go, I really want to do what I really want to do with my life because I had this close call, and then it was like, what I'm really passionate about is telling stories through visually capturing it, right?
It wasn't
that
so
happen?
clearly defined.
Yeah.
Because I was so young. I was like 23 or something when it
yeah.
happened. So I just knew I did not want to do accounting. I was always miserable doing it, but this was my out. And it gave me the courage to just be like, you know what? I'm going to quit. So I did. And I tried to pursue photography full time, and I did. And I worked for newspapers. And then at the time, Sam was producing some short films at NYU, one of his many jobs, you know.
Yeah.
Has like a million jobs all the time, even now.
Even now, right?
Even now.
Yeah.
So he was producing some NYU grad films, and he brought me on as stills photographer. So I started to shoot stills for all these short films.
Yeah.
And I made friends with the camera crew. I was like, this is really cool. Can I slate? So I like second AC'd. I'd slated on a couple shorts, and on a whim, I applied to the master's program at UCLA and AFI, and I got into both. And so we moved to California. And I think because of 9/11, we kind of, not that we wanted to abandon and give up hope and leave New York forever. I just felt like we kind of needed to get out of there because it held so much trauma for us, and it was just hard.
You said that you guys came to a choice because of that experience where you would either call it quits or stay together. You obviously chose to stay together, but what did you mean by that? Because of an experience like that can...
Yeah. Well, I know that a lot of times in relationships that are born out of traumatic experience, like an EMT saves a woman from whatever, those may or may not work. In our situation, though, because we had already been together for 3 years at that point, it just confirmed our love for one another, and having faced death, knowing I don't think I can live without you. So it really just solidified our relationship. And that's when I say, I'm sorry, I'm like...
It's okay. No, it's fine.
You know, I would never want anyone to go through that. But for us, it really just confirmed that we should be together.
Yeah. You also see in a situation like that the most vulnerable part of that person and how they react to you in that moment, and that also can go one of two ways. Totally. And then you go like, if we can survive this together and react the way we did to each other and become closer, then what is going to throw itself your way that you won't be able to tackle, right?
Exactly. It just makes you stronger, and it makes you appreciate life. Really, it does. And to know what's important to you and what you can do to better yourself and to make things better for your partner, and just working in a very symbiotic way. You know, it takes a lot of hard work to be in a relationship.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
And it never ends.
Yeah.
It takes work to maintain that relationship. And when you are thrown new obstacles like a move or a house, like a house can really like break up a relationship, or children.
Or kids,
Or children, there's always something new that will test that bond. And I am just grateful that, we have stood the test all these years. Yeah.
So after you guys worked together on those short films, and then it was like, okay, UCLA is going to happen. I'm going to go in this master's program. Did it feel like it probably felt like a fresh start for you,
Oh,
right? Because you're in a new
totally.
city, you're in a whole new,
Yeah.
but were you scared to switch
course.
careers all of a sudden and go into this
Of course.
passion?
Of course, I was so scared. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even know how I got in. I got in based on my stills, the strength of my stills work. And I, up until then, had only worked on short films for like a year.
Did you know then that you wanted to do cinematography in addition to
Yes.
just photography? Okay.
Yes, yeah. I applied to the cinematography program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I knew for certain that I wanted to be behind the camera.
What was your family's response to not only you guys moving, but to your changing careers?
I was already the black sheep of the family.
Because they're very traditional.
Oh my
right.
gosh.
Yeah.
Well, we still weren't married yet.
Right.
So
yeah.
I've
So then
been
there's
like
that.
living this lie the whole time. When I moved out of my house after college to go to New York, it was really bad. I actually made a short film about it at film school.
You did?
Yes.
About what happened with...
About my 9/11 story and about moving out, being the black sheep of the family, not really talking to my mom, and then after 9/11 reuniting and, not being afraid to show my emotions.
Yeah.
So
That's a big part of it
it's
too,
a really
right?
intense 6-minute short.
I want to see it.
It should be like a feature length, but like I tried to pack it all in 6 minutes.
Let's make it a feature. I'll write it. You got like $200. I'll write
Yeah,
it,
you
and then
got
you
it.
can shoot it.
I'll shoot on my iPhone. It'd be great.
So, yeah, what level of fear were you experiencing in starting over in LA? You have this secret too, but then you also have this sort of blossoming out of tragedy career
Yeah.
that was super
Yeah.
exciting at the same
Yeah.
time.
I think I was more excited, but I was scared about money
Yeah.
because Sam didn't really have a lot of prospects. He was traveling back to New York still to do voiceover and to make money to pay for our Los Angeles apartment.
Yeah.
So it was really hard. I was, in film school, I got some scholarship money, but out of state is a lot of money at UCLA. So after the first year, I was fine. But I was just scared financially more than anything else. I was too young to really think about like, oh, am I going to make it? Because when you're that young, you have dreams.
You do.
And I'm not really a pessimist.
Mm-hmm.
So I never doubted that I would make it because I was like, oh, I'm going to go to film school. It's a film career.
Yeah. It's a given,
Like,
right? They give you one the last day.
That's what you think.
Yeah.
That is so not the reality. I think there's maybe 2 people in my class who are still filmmakers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Everybody else just
Or
fizzled
teach.
out,
I mean,
or it's too hard.
they're still in the business in some respect,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm trying to think like how many. Maybe there are a couple directors, but it's hard to call yourself a director if you haven't really directed
Right.
anything outside of film school.
We all have that moment where it sort of clicks, where our dream lines up with our
Yeah.
reality, and we
Yeah.
go, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
I always wanted to feel this thing, and now it's happened." Was there a specific gig for you where that happened?
I don't know, and I'm asked that all the time. Like, or now that you've made it, I'm like, well, let's
Hold on.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as making it because I'm still trying to like get to that next level always.
And
I think,
and when you finish a gig, you never know if the phone's gonna ring or not.
I'm like,
so
this could be
made
my
it
last job.
right.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna work again.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to like get a job here.
Mm-hmm.
No, just kidding.
We can't afford you. I'm so sorry. I've
No,
tried.
but you always want to level up.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
You want to get to the next project, and I think complacency is the killer of creativity. So if I'm ever saying to myself, "Oh, I've made it," I think at that point I should just quit because then at that point I don't think I'm growing anymore as an artist or learning anything new. And I mentor a lot of young filmmakers, and I tell them, no matter what job you do the best. And there's always going to be that next job, and you're going to try to do even better on that next one. I still try to do that. And I look at something I shot last week, and I'm like, oh, why did I do that? That's so ugly, terrible. Why did I do that?
Yeah.
Even now, I'm always trying to better myself as an artist, as a leader, as a collaborator, as a storyteller.
How do you do that? How do you better yourself?
I just look at my work, and I look at the circumstances, and I reevaluate, and I just think a lot. I'm a thinker.
Yeah.
Like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you constructively self-critical, or does that get into like you're too self-critical of your own work?
Both.
Both.
Both. And I think as artists, we tie a lot of our self-worth to our work. So, and Sam's always telling me, you're so hard on yourself. Oh, you're going through the phase again where you look at something once, you think it's horrible. You look at it the second time, you think it's even worse. And then third time, you think, oh, it's not so bad. It's like this endless cycle. Every time I do a project, I'm like, oh, why did I do that? And he's like, oh, there she goes again.
Give it 2 days. You'll
Give it
be
2
okay
days,
with
you'll be
it.
fine. Yeah. And he's like, oh. So I'll be in like this pit of despair, and then I'll get a call from my agent. Oh, you just booked this job. I'm like, yay!
It's fine.
I'm worthwhile. I'm a human being. I'm a whole person. I can go on. It's just so pathetic. But
it is tied to that.
But I'm not afraid to admit that I have a lot of faults, and there's room to grow and be better.
Living or dead, who are your favorite people behind the camera? Whose work do you just love? It's
Yeah, my mentor, Roger Deakins. So I met him at UCLA. He was teaching he was the cinematographer in residence, and we just hit it off, and I was
of all
very,
the
very
people,
lucky. Yeah, I got super lucky.
You got Roger
he
Deakins.
helped me a lot.
He's my favorite.
In my early days. He's incredible because his way of telling a story is very classical.
Okay, yeah.
He's not full of gimmicks and tricks. And when you watch a movie that he shot 20 years ago, it's still relevant. And the cinematography does not feel gimmicky.
Right.
And it's because it's very classical in its approach. And he would always tell me, story, story, story. I would ask him for advice. He's like, well, do you like the story? Can you relate to it? And that was the best advice anyone has ever given me. And I think that's why I pride myself on being a storyteller.
Right.
And have a strong understanding of whatever script I'm given. If I can relate to it, and if I like it, then I will take on the project. But if I can't, I don't think it would do anyone any justice. If I don't like the movie, how can I tell it
right.
and fulfill someone else's vision if I can't relate to it? So
let's take that term, making it, which we hear a lot in this town and around.
Yeah.
But isn't making it for you the ability to go, there was a time where I wasn't able to take a gig because of that, but like, isn't making it really, I'm now at a place where I only have to take a gig if I really think it's a story that I can help tell versus like all the gigs you had to take just to pay the bills or to advance your career, right?
Yes.
That's making it. That's the fulfilling thing.
That is the definition, I would say. To take only projects that you're passionate about.
In what ways do you think you contribute to the telling of a story? Because obviously you are capturing those moments and stuff. A lot of DPs nowadays aren't behind the camera. They're lighting and they're doing stuff and then they watch it on monitors at Video Village and stuff. But you're touched with all those different aspects, but then are you also ever still like, I'm on the camera? Do you like that, or do you like to be?
I love being behind the camera. Roger operates all of his work, but he only shoots features.
Right.
And so, in single camera features mostly. So when you shoot television, you can't do that because there's too much to navigate on
You have
set.
too many cameras.
You have to light and pre-light the next set because of the demanding page count and schedule. You have multiple operators, so I can't be operating if I don't know what the second camera or third camera is doing. So I need to be at the Village and running.
You're looking at the full picture.
But I like to light from the set. I'm very traditional in that way. I use a light meter. I stand on set. I talk to the actors. I know all their names. As if I were still operating. And only at the last minute do I go back to Village. So I'm very involved. I like to pride myself in having relationships with the actors, keeping them abreast of what's next, because I like to be informed.
Right. Right.
With the AD. And I try to stay involved as if I were shooting a single camera feature.
I noticed you were kind enough to invite Ashley and by proxy me to your Christmas party last year. And I noticed that almost every actor in the last project you had worked on before that came to your Christmas party and was just speaking so highly of that experience. I haven't been on a set where you have shot, but I can tell that they appreciate the attention to detail and that sort of like classical or traditional, I guess, approach to it.
Yeah, I think it's because I try to, well, first of all, I know the actors are on camera for a living and I want them to look good, even if it calls for like a very dark and dramatic moment. You know, there's a way to light them where they
Right.
still look, you know, movie star bad. But what I also do is I will be looking out for something and I'll see them do something in a way that like wasn't noticeable before in the first or second take, and they'll do something new. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so then I'll go to the director and be like, hey, just now the actor did this. Do you want to like go in? I know we didn't plan a close-up, but do you want to go in for a close-up to capture that beat? Because this could be pivotal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the actors know that I'm looking out for their performance.
Whoa.
And I think that's what's really solidifies that DP-actor relationship.
Yeah.
Is that I'm looking out for their story and their character arc, not just making them look pretty. Yeah.
It sounds fun.
I love it.
It sounds really fun.
I love my job so much. I'm so lucky and grateful.
You were like super pregnant while shooting a feature or a show or something, wasn't it? Or a couple
both
of things?
pregnancies I was shooting.
What's
up
that
until
like?
The end. Well, I did this little short film called Smilf.
Uh-huh.
It ended up doing pretty well. It won the Grand Jury Prize at Sundance.
Was that 2015?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was 8 months pregnant, and I was so huge. Like the Terminator lives up to her name. And I basically was like sitting there like with my belly out here with the camera on my belly, like, oh my God, why did I do this?
You got to pee all the time?
Yeah. I love the director. I thought she had an incredible story. She was a friend. I shot her boyfriend at the time. They're married now. Her boyfriend's short. So he was like, hey, can you shoot my girlfriend's project? I was like, yeah, sure.
I got nothing going on. Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, but I just love doing my job. And I just feel so lucky that I can do it in this environment now, which supports women a lot more than it used to even 4 years ago. Like,
tell me how
really
that's
talking like
changed.
that.
Tell me how that's changed.
I am just a little worker bee in this whole conversation. I think change takes a long time for it to be effective and for it to last, to have staying power. Change has to be gradual. So as a worker bee in this conversation, I try to do my best to hire more women and to also give back to the filmmaking community. I do a lot of outreach.
Yeah,
I
you
do
mentor.
a lot of mentorship. I probably have 1 or 2 conversations on the phone or coffee, or have someone visit my set like every week. So just last week I had a coffee meeting and a phone call. And that phone call was like, oh my gosh, I really want to have kids. I'm 38, but my career isn't where I want it to be. Should I wait another year? And I'm like, no.
Do it now.
Do it now.
Right, yeah.
Just do it. If you want to have children, just go for it. You know, don't let...
There will never be a right time.
There will never be a right time. Even when I had my first kid, I was like, well...
Keanu?
Whatever, Keanu. I mean, look at that hair. Anyway.
Amazing hair.
Amazing.
Jealous.
I think he gets it from me.
Duh.
No.
Because I watched Sam spray his on before every show Thursday night.
Oh.
I'm joking. He does it in private. At what point did that mentoring thing become important to you, though? At what point was it because of Roger and your relationship, and you went, "This was so awesome," or was it something else?
I think it was a conversation I had with my agent, and I think it was just when the whole like female cinematographer thing was making headlines and getting more in the news. And for me, I was like, ugh, can't we just make it about the work?
Right.
But you can't. Like so many times people look up my name and I don't have a picture on IMDb because I specifically did not want people to know I was a woman.
Interesting.
Yeah, I may change that now, but at the time...
A lot have changed, yeah.
At the time, I had shot this movie and there was a variety review of my movie, and they listed, and Quyen Tran cinematography is elevates the story. And his camera work and lighting and his photography.
Were you pissed?
No.
No?
Okay.
You were like, it's
My
working.
initial-
It's working.
I'm a man. My initial response was, oh my God, like, that's so lazy. This person could have just Googled me real quick and known that I was one. But then second, I thought, that's kind of cool. I'm being reviewed based solely on my
the
work.
work. Yeah.
And sex is not playing any part of this conversation. And I think it was the best thing that I could have ever experienced. Because I was like, you know what? This is awesome.
Yeah.
And they quickly like revised it. I think a couple people like wrote in.
Sam wrote an email. Was like,
no, Sam.
No, I'm kidding.
If it's not in his like Google alert, Quyen Tran cinematographer, it's just Sam Riegel. I'm kidding.
That's why his phone's going off all day.
Yeah. So I think that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when did you start mentoring?
So I started mentoring kind of inadvertently, just I guess since I graduated, just talking to other girl DPs and then just I guess as I became more experienced, more people started calling me because I'm very open. I try to contribute my time and energy, and I like to give back. So
is it as fulfilling for you as the work itself? Being
yes.
able to,
yeah.
it is?
Yeah. In fact, I'm about to teach a class at a high school. One of my friends is a film teacher, a film professor at a private school, and I'm going to talk. And it's an all-girls private school. So I usually do university or AFI or something, UCLA, just like master classes or guest lecture. So this will be fun because they're really young, these kids. So I'm looking forward to it. That's on Friday. That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow? You're going to see some little Quyen's in that.
Yeah.
And how cool, because if you were that age, that wasn't really going on.
No, absolutely not. And I think that's what I'm trying to do, just one meeting at a time, one coffee at a time, just showing people that you can do it, even if you're a woman and you want to have a family and you're a minority.
Exactly.
It's really important. I had this conversation with a young Vietnamese DP. He's still a student at UCI. I did a lecture at their university a couple weeks ago, and he followed up with a coffee meeting and said to me, as a Vietnamese son, my parents did not understand why I wanted to become a filmmaker. They didn't think I could make money or do this for a living. But then I saw your story, and now my parents think it's possible, thanks to you. So
that must be.
I'm going to tear up already.
Yeah,
but,
that must
that's
just be
powerful.
like.
And just knowing that I can affect someone's life and help their parents see the world a little different, and to not discriminate, and to give their child a chance at happiness, to be an artist, that is everything.
So much of that you said you talk about with your kids, about checking in with them, about whether or not they're happy, and how you and Sam check in with each other.
Well, I check in with Sam. I don't know if he checks in with me.
You'd think he'd learn after all these years.
It's interesting. He thinks, a lot of times, he knows what's best for me. He's like, you should shoot a feature. Go shoot a feature. I'm like, well, I don't know if that's necessarily going to make me happy because there's so much good stuff in television.
Right.
I was like, no television. I'm like, can you please
because the
listen
schedule
to me for a second?
Or because your career, it's like features. Because in this town, there was a long time where television was the bastard child, and features were you weren't serious.
Yeah.
You weren't serious unless you were in
weren't considered
features.
a real filmmaker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's changing now because the box office is shrinking and everyone's staying home watching Netflix and
huge stars are doing TV shows.
Everybody
in
is.
my last show, we had Toni Collette and Merritt Wever and Caitlin Dever.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Lisa Cholodenko,
right?
A feature film director.
What
directed it?
It's just, let's take it from just the just the director of photography part of it, not Quyen and how this fits into your life. But what do you like shooting more, features or TV? TV, you get a longer amount of time and episodes and coverage to try and get to that story.
I do like that. I think TV has come a long way. As far as the day-to-day process, I just love shooting, but what I've been realizing lately is that I want to only do projects that are socially impactful,
Socially impactful. Okay.
or have a really strong point of view and has something new to say. I don't want to shoot anything that's kind of just for pure entertainment.
Where do you think that comes from? Because some people are okay just shooting. It's like, a gig's a gig.
I don't know. I think it comes back to the whole theme of being happy, and knowing that I can affect change somehow.
And you want stories that are you want to be a part of stories that, are going to become a conversation versus just that was great.
Yeah. That was fun. Haha.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah, next one.
No, I want it to be a conversation piece.
So you're not going to do I'm writing a Transformers movie. You know, they're still making those. You're not going to do that? I'm going to make a Transformers 9 and
if it comes
you
from
won't
you,
shoot it?
I'm sure you'll have some like really interesting twists that will be,
one of the Transformers...
open up someone's eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them is a junkie and
there you go.
He skips town and they have to go to Santa Fe to get him and it's like he fell asleep on the bus stop. Yeah, I get it.
He meets a beautiful woman.
Who
helps him see life in a new way.
Yep.
I think,
I'm in. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do a deal. I'll call your people. Do you have people? You have people.
My people will call your people.
You have shot in some dangerous places.
In South Africa, or
I think it was the South Africa one.
Or the other Africa story.
What happened in South Africa?
In South Africa,
what were you shooting?
I was shooting. I was still in film school, so I was shooting a thesis film on film.
That never happens.
Yeah. On Kodak, shoot film, and we were shooting in Johannesburg, which is really dangerous. And there's a lot of carjackings there, and we narrowly escaped a carjacking attempt.
Somebody came up and tried to get you guys.
Yeah. Kind of packing heat. Oh my God, go! And so that happened once, and then it happened kind of again, and we just would have to run red lights because you feel the threat. And then there was another time when Sam came after we wrapped the short. Sam came and we were out clubbing. I think we were in Cape Town at this point, and we were walking down the street, and these guys started triangulating, coming down this alley, and it was really, really scary.
You could tell they wanted
something. Yeah. And so I grabbed Sam's arm, and I'm like, oh my God, what do we do? He was just walk. And then one of our friends, South African, was like, go that way. So we ran, and he confronted the guys, and then I don't even know what happened, but we got in the car, and we were like, oh my God, like shaking. We were going to get mugged or shot or stabbed or something. Like you knew that was going to happen. It was just like this horrible feeling.
Yeah.
When you feel that
you
threat,
know.
That instinct takes over.
And then
so
what happened in Africa?
There are a couple other things too. But then in my most recent trip, I'll tell you one funny story. Whenever I go, I take a picture or I do a FaceTime video with my kids. I'm like, oh, here's Mama's hotel room. So I took some pictures of my room at the compound, and the bathroom door had a steel door on it.
Whoa.
And so in our third or fourth security briefing, I forget what it was, they said, so this compound has been under attack, and if it happens again, you are instructed to go to the bathroom and close both doors and the steel door and make sure the handle's down and make sure that your steel window is shut. And that is the panic room.
Oof.
And so if we're under attack, you go into there and you lock yourself in.
What did you think when they said that?
I'm going to die. So at night,
I'm going to die
in a panic room. It's going to be like Jodie Foster. So at night, I would wedge a chair because I'm so smart, like CIA. Right?
Yeah.
I would put a chair underneath the door, and then I would push the armoire up against it, so there was no way anyone could get in. So basically, it would take at least like 3 minutes, maybe. I like really wedged it in.
You would have time to get to the bathroom.
Yeah, I would be able to even like escape, maybe through the windows. But every night I did that.
For how long?
For 2 weeks. Yeah. So that was a little scary.
Was it a little thrilling?
Of course.
The
you have
promise
to be
of danger.
Stupid to do what I do. To go to a place that is threatened by terrorists frequently.
To make a film.
To make a film. For a cause, though, that I really believe in, about girls' education and fighting global poverty through education.
Yeah.
But not just the education of the girls, their parents, their dads, their brothers, their grandparents, to the community.
Yeah.
You know, it's important that we understand that education can end poverty.
Do you want to direct, or do you not have that thing? Because I would think you would make a fantastic director because of how technical you are, but also you understand actors, you understand obviously how to shoot something and how to get the story you want visually. Seems like you would be able to cover all those bases in your...
I think what I said earlier about doing something at 150%, I really want to excel in my craft before I consider anything else. Otherwise, I feel like I've failed or I've given up.
Yeah.
And I have been approached to, maybe consider directing.
Of course.
And I've always told my agent, please, I want to focus on cinematography. I want to be the best at what I can do. As a cinematographer, I feel like I still have a lot to contribute and a lot to learn. So I feel like if I stop doing it, I've given up, and I'm not a quitter.
No.
I'm very driven. I'm very focused. So I want to really excel in my craft before I consider anything else.
Is there a milestone for you that's attached to that, or is it one of those things where you'll know? You'll just know if it's time.
I need an Emmy.
You need
just
an
so
Emmy,
that
just so
Sam
that he
can
shut the
up.
fuck up about it. Yeah, I was wondering
That is
about that when
yes.
that happened.
Oh my gosh.
But Women in Media just honored you with a
Yes.
award for
Yeah,
cinematography their day,
Yeah,
and that's pretty amazing.
Contributing to the
Yeah.
Film Society, yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Do you guys have a shelf where you're like, look, my side of the shelf is getting pretty heavy, and his is like just that lonely Emmy and his acapella awards, his improv awards?
Well, I was invited to become a member of the Academy this year, so that was a big deal. It's been incredible, and I really am trying to be the best member I can be. I'm on a committee, and
you're going to watch every film. You're not just going to vote for the ones that people that worked on it.
And that's where Sam and I are very different. I'm very committed, 110% to like fulfilling my role. Not that I'm not saying that Sam doesn't do the best he can do.
I know what you're saying.
But
I know what you're saying.
I really try to do the best I can.
So you are voting on who wins the Oscars this year. You are one of those people that's voting.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
Is
there some good movies this year that
oh
you're
my
happy
God,
about?
there's so many great films. Yeah. A lot of foreign films I've been watching. So.
Do you think it's a good time in film right now, or do you think it's a dangerous time because of everything that's happening with streaming and people not going to movie theaters?
Yeah. Sorry to talk over you. I think it's a tough time, a tricky time, and I think because of so much material on television, it doesn't leave a lot of room for many features. It just leaves room for really small independent features or really big features. So that middle feature has kind of gone away. So there's not a lot of $20 to $60 million films anymore. They're either like under 20 or over 100.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to get a lot of films made. To make a film is really difficult.
Yeah.
Because you see people like Reese Witherspoon and Nicole Kidman and De Niro and whoever, like huge actors doing television. Glenn Close, like there's so many amazing actors. Kate Blanchett is about to do a television show.
Yeah.
Jennifer Aniston and Steve Carell returning to television right now. So it's no one can really turn their nose up at television anymore.
You don't hear that stuff anymore. You don't hear it because everybody also knows that they're one film underperforming away from television.
Yep.
And it's best to not badmouth it anymore.
Yep.
But also television has been speaking for itself in the types of stories that it's telling.
And there's more time to develop character. And I think it's more challenging for actors because they get like 8 to 10 to 20 episodes to develop this character.
Yeah. To know when to hold back, to know when to let out, to know when those arcs are supposed to happen.
And I think limited series are just 8-hour features. The one I just shot is an 8-hour limited series, and I'm really excited for everyone to see it. I think it's important material. It's very relevant.
That's unbelievable. It comes out on Netflix, right?
Yes.
You did Camping on
I did.
HBO. The first
Yeah.
season is out.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was fun. The
Yeah.
cast was incredible.
See, it's a great cast.
I love the cast members. They were so generous and so nice and so great to work with. And it was challenging because there's 8 people outside all day long. So doing the coverage on that and
8
being
actors.
Yeah. In full sun, but all the actors were so lovely. No divas. Just really great people.
When Sam tells you I'm gonna go play Dungeons and Dragons for Liam's birthday or whatever it was that they did a one-off, and then it became a regular thing. Did you just think that was poker night? It was like, oh, okay, he's just gonna go play, because you probably didn't know what the hell Dungeons and Dragons was, right?
Well, I did know because I...
Oh yeah, you got read fantasy
if
nerd shit,
anything,
but you never
I
played,
am-
right?
No,
Yeah.
because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was ever a thing in my neighborhood.
Right. If
You
anybody
know, we
knew,
played
yeah.
outside in the woods. We did.
You came home smelling like the earth.
Yeah, I did. I really was really an adventurer. Like I went into the sewers. I did crazy stuff.
You were a
Yeah.
Ninja Turtle.
I was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to really say.
Yeah, don't
but
tell
I
us
did a
what
lot
you
of.
did in the
I did a lot
sewers.
of weird stuff down there. Yeah. But
You did weird stuff
well, my
in the
parents
sewer?
didn't know where I was. I would just like, I could have gotten hurt. Like no one would have
Yeah.
found me. This is before cell phones. I mean, I was an idiot.
Well, they don't
But
work
I was
down
just
there
being
anyway.
a kid.
Yeah, that's true.
I was an adventure seeker.
Yeah. But yeah, when he started playing D&D,
Yeah.
but were you like, it's basically poker night, right? It's like
Yeah, of course. I thought it was a one-off. Is
Yeah.
that what it's called?
a one shot or
One
a one
shot,
off.
sorry,
But
one
yeah, that was a one off because you just
Yeah.
thought they were just gonna play one time and then
Yeah.
that would be it.
Yeah, and then I think one time we hosted, and I think I made hors d'oeuvres or something. I don't know.
Probably.
Like, what do you guys want?
Uh-huh.
So I'm just happy because Sam has found something that he's really passionate about with really good people. And that's so rare to have a group of friends who love doing this, actually like each other, and hang out off camera as
Yeah.
well. That is so rare. I don't know anyone who has that.
Yeah.
What D&D has is very special. What Critical Role has is so special. Even I sometimes am envious about it because I'm like, oh, I don't have a regular thing I do every Thursday night and sometimes Friday and maybe Sunday afternoons with a group of,
Yeah.
8 friends,
Yeah.
except work on set, but that's different.
Yeah, it's
You know,
different. And it's a limited engagement
it's very
ultimately.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I think it's really special, and I can appreciate that, and
Mm-hmm.
it's something that I think it's so genuine too.
Yeah.
There's you can't fake it. You can't fake the camaraderie and the friendships and the game. It's magical.
That's what's made it successful, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's not just the story or the game; it's really that element of it. You're tuning in to see the story, to see the game, to see Matt's brilliant storytelling. But I think people tune in for the friendship. I think
Totally.
they tune in because that connection that everyone has. It makes the stakes so high.
Yes.
If we just
Yes.
came on Thursdays and played together, and that's the only time everybody really knew each other, if somebody's character were going to die, it'd be like, oh, that sucks. But when you're so close to each other, it's like, oh man, this is kind of a big deal, right?
Yes. And I didn't even watch the first campaign, but Sam was telling me he was recounting the ending.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm giving away anything. I think
You're
everyone's-
fine.
But when Liam's character was already
Yeah.
deceased, and Sam had the power to bring him back, but he couldn't because of the greater good, and he started crying. I think I don't know. I was
Yes,
like, you cried?
yes, it was-
like Sam the robot cried.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I started tearing up. I was like, that is the most beautiful gesture you can offer to a friend.
It was.
But I got it. I
Yeah.
got it because, I love this kind of world.
Yeah.
Even though I read, I don't perform.
Right.
I could see where it was headed, and
Yeah.
it was just really, really beautiful.
Do you ever get jealous of Liam? Are you ever like, man? Or do you know that, he maybe reached those parts of Sam that you don't know how to word
No,
it?
no. No, there's no jealousy. Not at all.
Isn't it amazing though? What I told both of them when they were here we obviously we have so much fun with that relationship and whatever else, but
The bromance.
that's rare. But that thing that they actually have, not just the jokes we make about the bromance, but that friendship that they actually have is so rare. And especially in this town.
Oh, yeah.
And for it to last as long as it's had, and that's...
Yeah, well, we knew them in New York
Yeah.
before we moved here, and it's lasted all these years.
Yeah.
The ups and downs and the trials and tribulations. So they've been there for each other.
It's funny, I often wonder if you're sitting in bed and you've got all your scripts and you're just like hard at work and your laptop and you've got all the shit and you have this super early day tomorrow, and then Sam walks out of the bathroom or the closet or wherever in a hot pink outfit with... Like, does he show you the ridiculous outfits before we go to the live shows or doing that stuff?
I open them up. I usually...
You open the mail and see
Well,
it?
if I'm home first or whatever, I'll open the packages because I take care of... It's very traditional. I cook. I clean. Sam takes care of the finances.
He takes care of, like, managing the finances?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's very traditional in that respect.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
however you guys figure it
whatever.
out.
Yeah. So I'll open the boxes and then literally like my daughter will be like, "Ooh, is that for me?" And it's like this like pink dragon outfit or like sparkly red leg warmers or that's that one piece I don't even know what it
green.
was.
Remember, you saw the cube thing, right?
I did.
Yeah. What did you think when
I was like,
you
oh, is
saw
that
that?
battery
And he was on
operated?
stage in front of all those people.
I haven't seen it.
But you had to have seen him in some pretty ridiculous outfits back in
saw
the day, though.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh,
Like, so
he's been
you're
doing
used
it for
to
years.
that.
Yeah. So I'm used to it.
So when it shows up, you're like, it's
don't
another
care.
dumb
I
thing
don't
for
care.
whatever.
You know what? I don't fall prey to that.
You're okay being the sophisticated one. You're like, keep wearing that stuff because it makes me look even classier.
I don't care about that. It's not even about that. I'm like, Sam is his own thing.
Yeah.
He's his own species.
It's true. It's
like
true.
it's amazing to me, but it keeps it fresh.
There's no one else that you could go like, oh yeah, that person's exactly like Sam.
No.
Outside of maybe, everybody compares him to, they say he looks like a young Tim Curry. Do you think he looks like a young Tim Curry? I can see part
dressed
of
up
it.
as it? Or
Yes.
yeah, maybe a little bit. You know? It's such a character. But Sam has always been a performer his whole life, and I think that's why I love him so much. He's unique, and he works hard, and he's very passionate about performing. And I think that's why we get along. We both have very strong personalities, very different, but we're very driven in our own careers. And I think that's how we remain successful, is I don't really pay attention to what he does, and he just thinks about himself. That is the formula to a happy marriage.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
You guys have two beautiful children, Keanu and I can't remember the other code
Terminator.
name, the Terminator. Yeah, that's right. Have they started to show interest in anything that you think is going to stick, or are they still in the phase where you're seeing them experiment with a lot of different stuff? Are they starting to, because both of you are so artistic and so intelligent, and I feel like those kids are going to be able to pick whatever they want.
Oh, I knew from day one that my daughter was going to be an artist. The way she thinks is so outside the box.
What do you mean?
What does that smell like? I think it smells like unicorns and a little bit of apple pie, but maybe some red in there. I'm like, what?
Oh, yeah.
The way she thinks is so incredible. I learn something from her every day. So that's what I mean when she thinks outside the box.
Yeah.
Her answers are so poetic. You're a poet.
Yeah.
And just so abstract. Sometimes I think does she have like synesthesia or something? Like, what? It's amazing. But I really want to foster that. And I'm not afraid to let her make mistakes. I want her to try different things. I'm never going to force her into anything, but I will help her with her art.
Right.
And so like when you see our house again, I have this huge art station. I have it stocked with everything you can imagine. Glitter, pipe cleaner, construction paper, scissors. I'm like, my daughter's been cutting since she was 2.
Yeah, she's fine.
I don't care.
Yeah,
she's like
yeah.
so dexterous. I'm like, what? Like she crawled when she was like, I don't know, 6 months. Like insanely like
Yeah.
gifted.
Right.
So she can hold a pencil really well, like beyond what most 4-year-olds can do. And I just want to really foster that gift and nurture her craft. You know, the way she thinks and the way she draws, and it's incredible. I learn something new every day. My other child, Keanu, besides being blessed with this incredible head of hair, he is very physically gifted. And
he skateboards.
He's a skateboarder, a tennis player. He's incredible at martial arts. And he also is on the gymnastics team.
It's crazy.
So
That's as physical as you could be.
And he's a crazy climber. He can scale anything.
Yeah.
And so when we have play dates and we have this beautiful avocado tree in the backyard, he'll climb to the top, and parents are like,
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, he's fine.
He's fine.
He's fine. I have so much confidence in his climbing. I really don't want him to see Free Solo. You know that documentary?
About the parkour people?
No, that's the free climber.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I will never let him watch that.
Because he'll just go do it.
I want to do that. Well, the other day, I was asking him, you know, for your next birthday, you're going to be 7, and that free running gym is open to 7-year-olds. Do you want to have your birthday party there? Because there's like a parkour free running gym.
Yeah.
And I really want to encourage it because that's what he likes.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, maybe parents might be like, whoa, that's crazy to encourage that. But I think if he has a talent, I want to nurture it. So I think I'm really lucky in that Sam and I agree on that parenting philosophy.
Yes.
That we want to let our kids kind of decide for themselves. We will expose them to many different things, but we recognize the gifts and talents that they have, and we want to nurture it.
And that goes back to how you feel about younger filmmakers too, and just sort of, it seems to be a thread there. Yeah.
I'm always a mama bear, even before I had kids.
It's because you're so good
on set. I like to take care of people.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
This was awesome.
Yeah.
Are you happy you did it, or are you still feeling like, this is a mistake?
So you're asking me if I'm happy?
I'm checking in with you I'm checking in on your level of happiness.
I'm very happy.
Good.
Thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
Thank you. These are pretty good, man.
They're good.
I might actually...
If I didn't have to drive home, I would finish this right now.
You don't have to drive home. You can just stay here. Do you want to watch Critical Role later from
no. God, no.
You would have no idea. Did you think, though, when the second campaign started, were you like, okay, I don't have to catch up on this whole thing, but it's also, too... You can't watch 4 hours a week. You have no time.
No time. Yeah.
But then if they get stacked up, then it just becomes impossible. So I guess I answered my question.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen a single episode yet.
But you know, like, you've seen parts of it.
I know the gist of it.
You know the gist of it.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
Did he come home the night that Talison's previous character passed, that he died? Did he come home and, like, tell you what happened? Or was it, like,
you mean
the
at,
next
like,
day?
1 a.m?
Yeah, because that was a late one. This last
when
Thursday...
When I'm asleep.
This last Thursday was the longest one. Yeah.
No, I'm usually asleep by the time he gets home. And then if I have an early call time, I'm up at like 5:30. So, 2 ships passing in the night.
Does he tell you about what happened, or does he know, like, it's...
We don't talk about it.
You don't talk about it?
Mm-mm. And I think, like I said, I think that's the success.
It is.
To our marriage.
It is. What are you going to tell him about this? You should, when he's like, how'd it go today? What'd you say? You should just be like, it was great.
Big period.
Big period. Yes.
Cheers.
Quyen's episode. Big period.
Big period.
It's a big period piece.
Big period piece. I would love to shoot a period piece, by the way.
Let's make a Western.
Yeah.
Or like, what period would you shoot if you could shoot a period piece? I immediately go to Western, but what would you
The
want
Renaissance.
To do? Ooh. You go to the Ren Fair. Or you went. I saw you at Ren Fair with the kids.
Yeah.
He takes the kids.
Yeah, but it was never my thing.
Yeah.
And I was very like, oh my God. What? Ren Fair? Ew. Even though I'm in that world.
Fantasy novels.
But this is very different. Reading a book is very different from acting. And I'm not a performer anymore.
People really get into it there.
So, So I was really like hesitant. But we brought the kids. We didn't dress up. And
was it fun?
I had the best time.
It's fun, right?
The best time. Because
Did you drink the oubliette?
No, I don't think I drank anything because we had the kids. I was driving.
Shit,
but
I always forget about that.
I used to do archery when I was younger. And so I did that and I did knife throwing. I was like, yeah, this is like totally up my alley.
Did you hit the thing?
I hit
the thing.
No, I let my son do that.
I bet it was like, I hit it.
He's really strong.
The hammer just flies backwards.
You're like, well.
Travis did it, and then
Well,
2
he
years
breaks
ago.
the hammer, right?
Yeah. Back to Travis goes, I'm gonna do it and then you do it. I go, no, I'll go first. And then they'll be like, ha ha, and then you do it. I'm like, yay, we can end on a celebration. If you go first and then I go, we end on sadness. And he's like, no, it's gonna be funnier.
And Travis does it. It's like Mjolnir. It just like
Yeah.
destroys the universe. Yeah.
Yeah. Ren Fair. So fun.
So fun.
All right, that's
All right,
it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Today we'll be making a sherry cobbler. If that name sounds familiar, you're probably well read. Dickens fed these to his characters. With flavors of citrus and spice, this drink is bright and refreshing, and with no at-proof liquor, it has around the same amount of alcohol as a glass of wine. So don't be surprised if you find yourself putting down a few. Sherry, for those unfamiliar, is a fortified wine made in Spain, and no, it's not just for grandmas anymore. For this drink, you'll want to mix it in metal shaking tins using a shaking method called whip shaking, which I'll go over in a minute. The ingredients for the sherry cobbler are quite simple, the process a bit refined. You'll need 3 ounces of Amontillado sherry, an orange, and some cinnamon syrup. What is cinnamon syrup, you ask? It's basically cinnamon simple syrup, which you can buy or make at home pretty easily. You can find instructions online. First, add around half an ounce of cinnamon syrup to your tin, along with 3 ounces of the Amontillado sherry. Then, you're gonna add 1 orange slice to the shaker. Up next, you're gonna whip shake the ingredients in your tin. Now, the whip shake is a technique used to aerate and agitate the ingredients in the tin before pouring over crushed or cracked ice. Today, we're gonna use crushed ice. With all the ingredients in the tins, rather than filling them to the brim with ice, instead use 3 or 4 small cubes. Then we're gonna seal and shake 5 to 7 times aggressively. Then we're gonna strain over our crushed ice into our Collins glass. The advantage the whip shake has over swizzling, it's not just faster, but you can throw in solid ingredients like a citrus peel or mint, for example, and get the benefit of gentle muddling without the extra step. Then you're gonna garnish with a half orange slice and some mint. I like to make a little bouquet of mint. And there you have it, nutty and refreshing with citrus, baking spice, and raisin. It's kind of like a sherry cobbler. My grandmother would love that if we were still speaking. Thank you so much for watching Between the Sheets. New episodes are uploaded to YouTube on Wednesdays, and if you want to watch the show live, it airs at 7 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/Critical Role. Thanks for joining us.